The 29th of February, a day that only graces our calendars once every 4 years. A day we call Leap Day. Intriguing, isn't it? But why does it exist? Well, it's here to keep our annual calendar in sync with the seasons. Without it, the equinoxes and solstices would drift, shifting our perception of time. You see, a day isn't exactly 24 hours, and a year isn't the time it takes for Earth to make a 360-degree revolution around the Sun. This is because Earth's orbit is an ellipse, not a perfect circle, and the Earth's rotation isn't constant. Oh, and here's a playful nugget of information. Only 4 days out of a calendar year have exactly 24 hours, and Leap Day isn't one of them. But why is that? And what causes these deviations? The answers are fascinating, to say the least. But the real kicker, the mystery that begs to be unraveled. Well, you'll have to stay tuned to find out. What's up, my amazing and curious folks? Are you ready to unravel mysteries with us today? I'm your enthusiastic guide, Caesar, and joining me on this ride is the insightful Sonia, always ready to delve deeper into the intricacies of our topics.
Hi everyone, super excited to be here.
Make sure you subscribe to the Curiosity Wonderland and hit that bell icon to stay updated. We have new episodes every day at 10 hours, 14 hours, and 20 hours. Don't miss out as we uncover the extraordinary within the ordinary.
Alright folks, we've come to the part where we delve deeper into this calendar anomaly. So, we have Leap Day, a day that pops up on our calendar once every 4 years. Incredible, isn't it? Most of us are likely to experience around 20 such leap days in our lifetime. But what's even more fascinating is the science behind this extra day. Now, you might have heard various urban legends or historical tales about Leap Day, but its existence is purely based on scientific reasons. Without it, Earth's physics would cause our seasons to shift out of phase with our annual calendar, leading to a drift in equinoxes and solstices. But let's talk specifics. Did you know that if we just added a leap day to our calendars every 4 years without fail, things still wouldn't line up perfectly? That's what happened when we followed the Julian calendar. It's only by accurately accounting for our planet's axial rotation and revolution around the Sun that we can keep our calendar in check, and that's where Leap Day comes in. So, let me share with you 7 of the most bizarre, yet scientifically accurate facts about Leap Day. To begin with, consider the fact that our journey around the Sun is a whopping 940 million kilometers. Because of this, rotating by 360 degrees on our axis doesn't restore the Sun to the same relative position in the sky from day to day. This is why our day is longer than 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4.09 seconds, which is the time required for our Earth to spin a full 360 degrees. Similarly, when we say a year, we are not referring to the time it takes for Earth to make a full 360-degree revolution around the Sun. Rather, it's determined by the return of Earth's axis to the same position relative to the Sun as it was the year before. Makes you rethink our perception of time, doesn't it? Our calendar, in fact, requires leap days in part because a day isn't exactly 24 hours long. The way we've structured our calendar, we divide the year, or the period in which Earth's seasons repeat, into days, each marked by the rising and setting of the Sun. And this, my friends, is only the beginning of the strange and wonderful science behind Leap Day. We'll unravel more of these mysteries as we proceed. So, are you ready to leap with us into these peculiar facts? Let's keep unraveling the mysteries of Leap Day, folks. It's time to put on your space helmets and take a trip to our solar system. Picture Earth rotating on its axis and revolving around the Sun. Now, if we were defining a day based on the solar system, we would consider it as the time from sunrise to sunrise, or sunset to sunset. And if we were defining a year, it would be the time it takes Earth to return to the same position in its orbit upon completing one full revolution. But a full 360-degree rotation on our axis doesn't equate to a day. Why? Because as Earth moves in space relative to the Sun, a single rotation on its axis leaves us a bit behind where we need to be. It's quite fascinating, isn't it? Here's another twist: our planet's orbit is elliptical, not circular. Hence, it moves faster in its orbit when it's closer to the Sun, and slower when it's farther away. A full 360-degree rotation always takes 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4.09 seconds, but due to our additional rotation relative to the Sun, which varies throughout the year, each day is usually a few seconds longer or shorter than exactly 24 hours. Now, Here's a fact that will really throw you for a loop. Only 4 days out of every calendar year are exactly 24 hours. And no, leap day isn't one of them. It's mind-boggling, isn't it? The Earth, moving in its orbit around the Sun and spinning on its axis, always defines noon and midnight in the same manner, where the Sun's height above or below the horizon is maximized. So, this is the kind of cosmic dance that Earth is participating in, and it's precisely these scientific subtleties that give us the existence of leap day. What do you think? Isn't it amazing how much there is to learn just from this one extra day in our calendar? Let's dive even deeper into this fascinating topic. So, we've established that a day does not correspond to Earth rotating exactly 360 degrees from the prior day. It's actually closer to 360. 9,856 degrees, thanks to the added effects of Earth's motion around the Sun. But here's something that may surprise you: a year isn't defined by the Earth completing a revolution around the Sun. I know, it's common to think of a calendar year as the time it takes our planet to make a full revolution around the Sun. But that's not quite right. Astronomers refer to this as a sidereal year, but what we experience as a year when the seasons recur in a predictable, periodic manner is actually slightly different. Why, you ask? Because as Earth spins on its axis and orbits the Sun, gravitational forces cause our planet's axis to precess over time. This means the axial tilt of about 23.5 degrees doesn't always point in the same direction. Instead, it makes a little circular shape that completes a full rotation roughly every 20,000 years. Consequently, by the time one sidereal year has passed, Earth is oriented slightly differently with respect to the Sun. So, our calendar is actually based on the tropical year, which is about 20 minutes shorter than a sidereal year. The inclusion or exclusion of February 29th on our calendar plays a significant role in whether the equinox shifts forward or backward in time from the prior year's equinox. So, both the day and the year are defined not just by a constant celestial motion, but also by Earth's changing distance and orientation relative to the Sun. As a matter of fact, under the Julian calendar, leap days occurred every 4 years, but the Gregorian calendar revised this to omit some of the leap days. This was done to keep track of time more accurately. And here's a fun fact: the year 2020 was the first year since 1896 where the entire United States experienced a March 19th equinox, and 2024 will mark another year with a leap day. Now, here's a teaser for our next fact: there aren't an even number of days in the year, no matter how you measure it. Intrigued? Stay tuned as we continue our exploration of leap day. So, how many days are there in a year? A quick response would be 365. Or 366 in the case of a leap year, right? Well, it's not that simple. If we take into account all we know about Earth's rate of rotation, axial tilt, orbit around the Sun, the precession of Earth's equinoxes, and gravitational perturbations by all objects in the solar system, we'd find that there are, in fact, 365.242188931 days in a true calendar year to the best currently known precision. Imagine if we simply said, there are 365 days in a year, every year. Our calendar would start to drift by nearly a quarter of a day each year. So, to balance this, we say, every 4th year, we'll add in a bonus day and call it leap day. That would average out to 365.25 days per year, which is better, but still not perfect. This was the basis of the old Julian calendar, which lasted for around 1600 years. However, by the late 1500s, this calendar's alignment with the solstices and equinoxes had drifted by about 10 days. So, in a specific year, several days were removed from the calendar to realign it, marking the shift to our current Gregorian calendar. The adoption of the Gregorian calendar was a gradual process. The first countries adopted it in 1582, but England didn't adopt it until the 18th century, and many countries even later. Consequently, the same date can correspond to different points in time depending on the country. For example, Russia, which revised its calendar in 1918, needed to remove 13 days. And now, a teaser for you: our current, Gregorian calendar, with its leap days, isn't quite perfect either. So, stay tuned as we continue to explore the intricacies of leap day. Isn't it fascinating how something as seemingly simple as a calendar can be so complex? With the Gregorian calendar, there's a unique rule for years ending in 00, like the turn of a century. It's only a leap year if that number is also divisible by 400. For instance, 2000 was a leap year and so will 2400 be, but 1700, 1800, and 1900 weren't leap years, and 2100, 2200, and 2300 won't be either. By this rule, the Gregorian calendar gives us an average of 365.2425 days in a year, which is quite close to the actual number of days we experience. In contrast to the Julian calendar, which drifted by about a day every 150 years, the Gregorian calendar won't drift by a full day until around 3,200 years pass. Now, imagine if we went one step further than the Gregorian calendar and excluded every year that's divisible by 3,200 from having a leap day. If Earth's orbit doesn't change over time, our calendar wouldn't be off by a single day until around the year 700,000. Speaking of changes, the moon exerts tidal force on the Earth, causing the Earth's rotation to break and the length of the day to increase over time. This causes the moon to spiral outward and is why Earth will no longer have total solar eclipses after another 600 million years.
Wait a second. So you're saying that days are actually getting slightly longer as time progresses? That's mind-blowing. It seems like everything we thought was constant, like a day or a year, is actually in motion. It makes you realize how dynamic our world and universe really are.
Now, these tidal forces from the moon cause two very small changes. First, Earth's rotation rate ever so slightly slows down, and simultaneously the moon little by little spirals outward, further from the Earth.
That's so counterintuitive. I always thought everything in space was just static and unchanging.
No, far from it. In fact, the effect known as tidal braking slows Earth's rotation rate by about 14 microseconds per year. Over time, this has added up. Geologic features like tidal rhythmites can show us that the day was about 20 minutes shorter during the Cretaceous period.
So day lengths were actually different in the age of dinosaurs.
That's right. In Precambrian times, about 620 million years ago, a day was a bit under 22 hours long. And about 4 billion years ago, a day might have been as short as 6 to 8 hours.
That's wild to think about. So are the days still getting longer now?
Indeed, they are. And as time marches onward, we'll need to add fewer leap days to keep our calendar in sync.
So eventually, will we reach a point where we don't need leap days at all?
Correct. In about 4 million years, leap days will be unnecessary, and the calendar will contain exactly 365 days for a time.
That's such a long-term perspective. It's fascinating and humbling all at once.
In the future, we'll gradually have to start removing leap days from the calendar, having them less frequently to keep in sync with Earth's orbit around the Sun. Roughly 4 million years from now, leap days will become unnecessary, pulling the calendar out of sync with the seasons. Beyond that, we'll have to skip days in a kind of reverse leap day scenario, and eventually, over tens of millions of years, remove days from the calendar entirely.
Hold on. Are you saying there will come a time when our calendar will have less than 365 days?
Exactly, and that's not the only change we're facing. The same tidal braking from our moon that causes Earth's rate of rotation to slow down also causes the moon to spiral away from the Earth. This change in the Earth-Moon distance affects solar eclipses, specifically whether a solar eclipse is total or annular.
So the type of solar eclipses we see is also going to change.
That's right. As the Earth-Moon distance increases, more eclipses will become annular, where the moon doesn't completely block the sun, rather than total. We predict Earth's final total solar eclipse will occur around 600 to 650 million years from now. Along the center line of an annular eclipse, during the moment of mid-eclipse, a ring of fire appears, which is actually the portion of the sun that the moon can't eclipse. Today, only about half of all solar eclipses are annular, but in another 600 to 650 million years, they all will be, as the moon continues to move away from the Earth due to tidal braking.
That's incredible to think about.
And let's not forget the importance of leap days. Without them, Earth's seasons would rapidly shift over time, along with the normally reliable dates for the equinoxes and solstices. With our current leap day system, those dates never vary by more than a day or two and remain stable over timescales of millennia.
So it's like nature's way of keeping everything in check.
Yes, but on longer timescales, we're going to need to revise our calendar and change our leap days, as the length of a day is constantly changing. For now, this leap year means we simply get an extra day for 2024.
And I guess there are quite a few people out there who have February 29th birthdays.
Indeed, an estimated 5.5 million people celebrate their special day once every 4 years. But for those born on February 29th, they'll have to go 8 years without their birthday from 2096 to 2104. That'll be a long wait for a party. So to put it all together, Leap Day is our calendar's way of keeping time with the Earth's varied speed during its orbit around the Sun. It compensates for those few extra seconds each day and helps keep our years and seasons in sync. But as the Earth's rotation slows down due to tidal braking from the Moon, we're looking at a future where we'll need to ditch leap days and then even start skipping days to keep our calendar in line with the seasons. Fun fact, this same tidal braking is causing the Moon to move away from us, ultimately changing the type of solar eclipses we'll witness in the future.
Wow, it's amazing to think about how these astronomical factors impact something as everyday as our calendar. We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into leap days and the future of our calendar system. If you liked this episode of Curiosity Wonderland, be sure to hit the like button, leave us a comment, and share with your friends.
And if you know anyone celebrating their birthday on February 29th, maybe give them an extra high five. They've got a long wait until their next birthday party.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode of Curiosity Wonderland.
Take care, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye, folks.
This fascinating knowledge came from an article titled The 7 Most Bizarre Facts About Leap Day by Ethan Siegel on Big Think, published on February 28, 2024. If you want to delve deeper into this subject, the full URL will be in the episode description. Now I'm off.